Welcome, we're here again at the National Secondary Schools Tournament, Bruce Pullman Park at the end of day 3, and pool play is done and dusted. Duane Mann, Vodafone Warriors Development Manager, again looking at the events of the day, and we have our semi-finalists, the 4 semi-finalists to go through to that knockout round tomorrow. St Paul's College, Kelston Boys High School, Southern Cross Campus and Westlake Boys. Duane, what did you think of the results today?
Yeah, interesting results today, I guess. In each of the pools that we spoke about yesterday, Pool B, C and D in the Premier grade, Westlake, Kelston Boys and Southern Cross, so they came through reasonably okay as expected to lead out their pools. In that Pool A, I guess the surprise, Aorere getting on top of Avondale College, so that was a game. Otahuhu College. Aorere getting on top of Otahuhu College. So we spoke a bit about Otahuhu College, and yeah, I guess that we spoke about maybe which Otahuhu side turned up today to play, and taking nothing away from Aorere, they have Lewis Sosamere out there on the outside backs, so he would have caused them some problems today, and VK Kavalenga, the young ex-student now coaching the team, he's been working on hard with them all year, so yeah, well done to Aorere College on their one.
So just to remind you, at the end of day 2, all 4 teams in Pool A, the pool of death, were locked at 1 win and 1 loss each, and it was really going to come down to the results today. The first result of the day, St Paul's beat Manakura, so they did their chances of advancing a lot of good with that result, and then they had to hope for Aorere to beat Otahuhu, and that duly happened, so defending champions are out of the tournament. A bit of a disappointment for them.
Yeah, it is, and yeah, I know, because they're players and their coaching staff. It's been a tough year for the school this year with both league and rugby, so they were looking for, and their college rugby league regular season, they were looking at this tournament to give them a bit of spring for next year, but also finishing this year again. We talk about year 13 students and ability to lead the school on a high. But yeah, St Paul's in their game versus Manakura, Manakura were first to get on the scoreboard in that game and started really well. And conditions here today were perfect, nice and warm, and we spoke about the wind on Monday and Tuesday, but today was great for all the teams. Early morning start for all games, and St Paul's just being able to get back to that game of grinding out a win, and they were pretty ruthless in the end with their display.
You were talking a little bit before about St Paul's performance, and a lot of schools tend to go in cycles at events like this where they'll have a couple of strong years and they'll lose a year of players or a couple of years and take a little spell to rebuild their programs. St Paul's, they've won this title already 15 times. They haven't won it in a few years, but even in those years that they haven't won, they've been in the final twice and they've been in the semi-finals the other time. So very consistent performances from St Paul's. They don't seem to have a really bad year.
No, they don't, and the roll size is not that big. It's an all-boys school, and just under 400 students at the school. They're able to focus on their rugby league program. Their success historically just enables them to always have students knocking on the door, wanting to come in and join the school. So yeah, they're tradition and just being able to just keep rolling on year after year. And they have got some younger boys, we have mentioned Christian Tuipiloto and Sione Moala, so it's those type of players that just keep filling the void of past greats like Stacey Jones and Nigel Bagana. So yeah, well done to St Paul's for just getting themselves again into a top 4 position.
We look at the other teams that are in the semis, and Kelston is another one. They won 2 titles in a row and then had a disappointing performance last year, which you could put down to being a rebuilding year maybe, but they're back strong again this year.
Yeah, Kelston were very good today. A real polished performance against Mags, and Mags have had some troubles too this season. But that aside, Kelston still had to turn up. It was their best performance of the tournament, I thought. And on their left side, where they went to a number of times in the first half, young Wyatt, the half, found Joseph Oneki, so they were causing some real problems for Mount Albert, and I think Kelston boys can go away tonight and feel really satisfied of what they put on the park today, and should be feeling confident tomorrow.
And they'll be up against tomorrow Westlake boys. This is the first time that Westlake have made the semi-finals at this tournament. In terms of a rugby league school, they're still a very young program, aren't they?
They are, and this was a real test, a good test for Westlake today. They've coming against Avondale College, and Avondale College were got the win late yesterday in their game, and these two sides, schools met each other in the regular season of the Auckland competition, and I think came out that pretty even with the win.
They had a draw.
Yeah, they did too. So good memory. But Westlake just keep impressing us with their ability to just be error free, and keep things low in terms of errors, and win the territorial battle again. A couple of other good young front rowers there for them that stood up today. Not the biggest of sides, but I guess what they're showing is a game of speed also, and just being able to move the opposition around the paddock. A very fit side.
Yeah, and I think talking to Jamie Williamson after that game, he made the point that they knew that they were going to be up in a battle against Avondale with their big pack, and really wanted to put it out to the edges and run them around the park a bit.
Yeah, and the weather conditions allowed that to happen today. Let's hope more sunshine again for tomorrow, and that'll be a real cracker. So Westlake will play Kelston Boys tomorrow, and that's a real hard one to call, and I can see that going any way really. Both teams have a real great chance. One
stat I think with Westlake is that they're averaging about 30 points a game for this tournament, so probably the high scoring team in this event.
Yeah, they have. Kelston have got some players that can score long-range tries, so they can score from kicks, they can score some long-range tries, get repeat sets. But yeah, what you mentioned with Westlake, their ability to score points as well, probably their best closer to the try line. So maybe sort of 30, 20 metres out. So that'll probably be the difference in those two sides tomorrow.
The other semi-final tomorrow, we talked about St Paul's. The other team in the top four tomorrow will be Southern Cross, and we've talked about them right through this week so far. They are a school that seems to have been there or thereabouts over the years. We're not sure whether they've made the semi-finals before. They haven't in the last 5 or 6 years. They're traditionally kind of a top 10 team, but they've made that step up again this year.
Yeah, they put 40 points on Aranui High today, and yeah, they were just far too good, far too classy, just being able to move the ball around. They've got speed as well. That's a dangerous thing about that side. They've got guys who are very, very, very quick. So, they'd be excited about coming up against St Paul's. This is probably one they can see themselves having a real decent crack at. If it's a year to topple, a giant like St Paul's, this is the moment for Southern Cross.
And we'll talk about close finishes in that Pool A of the Premiership grade. In the development grade, there was an even closer finish in Pool E, where we had a three-way tie. We had Sir Edmund Hillary College beating Trident today, handing Trident their first loss of the week, and that set up 3 teams. Mount Roskill was in there as well. All 3 of them finished with a 2-win, 1-loss record. It came back to a points percentage calculation. We had our calculators out busily tapping in the numbers, and as a result of that, Sir Edmund Hillary came out on top of that pool by just fractions of a percentage over Trident, and great to see that kind of competition even at that development grade.
Yeah, it is. The developing grade, it's great, it's interesting, and that, the scorelines are close in some of those games, and take the Mount Roskill game though against Francis Douglas today. Mount Roskill got ahead the 30 points to 14, eventually came out winners, but you would have thought the scoreline was a lot closer. The way that Francis Douglas never surrendered, we played with real intensity. There was a bit of atmosphere around the sidelines from the parent supporters in that game. Mount Roskill obviously knew they had to get some points to make sure they had a chance of going through, which unluckily not able to. But a good quality game, and the Sir Edmund Hillary and Trident game the same, with Hillary College going out winners on that one. But again, just a real tough game. Lots of intensity in the game, lots of energy in the game, and you'd hear a roar across the Bruce Bomber Park, and you'd look over and you'd go, geez, where's that? Is that one of the big Premier games? But no, it was one from the developing grade games. So yeah, good to see the standard of football in those. I spoke to Mehdi Davis from Taiwan, and we haven't spoken about Taiwan or not. They'll progress through from that developing grade. They were very, very good today. We've got a number of players here who are in the representative scene in the 15s and 17s age brackets, and you know, they've got 170 students in the Hamilton campus. They've got about 60 students based out of the Palmerston North campus. But the whole kaupapa of the school is the way that they take their education and their sport. They're up early in the morning. They work out hard, and they have a shared breakfast together. There a lot of nutritional information around preparing for the boys and the girls. The girls are involved in sport as well. So yeah, they've got a strategy about maybe potentially growing the campus up here in Auckland. So yeah, they're looking at this tournament with some real possibilities going forward. Much like Wesley in the Premier grade, you know, with again a small roll size. But yeah, this is a pilot year for them, and I'd expect them now, from their performances this year, to see them continue to get better over the next 2 or 3 years.
Well, let's talk about Wesley and their game today, because they came into this tournament as one of the favoured teams that made the final of the Auckland competition earlier in the season, but they never really got going, I think, this week, and today was a good example of that when they played Tokoroa. Yeah,
Tokoroa, that's right, and just went down on that one. They were leading with only a few minutes to go, and Tokoroa, yeah, that spirit showing from that school in that region. They came through and snatched a try to level the game, and from yesterday, where they were unlucky with their conversion attempts to win, this time, you know, just outside the uprights, the loose forward converted to snatch the game, I think 14-12. So a good effort from Tokoroa.
So we talk about Te Wananga, and they are also into the semi-finals of the development grade. They will play Trident, I think, tomorrow, and Sir Edmund Hillary will play Onehunga High School. Duane, we get to the stage of every day and we start talking about names, about players. Were there any players that caught your eye today?
Yeah, there are. We'll have a selectors meeting later on this afternoon, but it's becoming really hard to cement a tournament team at the moment. You know, we still need to see play unfold on Thursday and obviously on Friday. There's about 15 young contracted Warrior players here that are playing under 20s this year. So they're starting to stand out and shine a bit, as we'd expect from those boys. But then there's some other boys here as well that we know about through either their school performances this year, or the clubs scene wherever they come from, and they're starting to shine as well. So players like All Blacks Taniwha, Dominic Fido Kelly, Jonathan Fido Kelly, even though down in Francis Douglas. So yeah, there's a bunch of players starting to shine.
Great.
And I don't know if I answered your question.
No, you certainly didn't. But that's to be expected. I wasn't aware the selectors hadn't met yet, so you probably haven't shared names for the day. There's obviously a lot of NRL clubs present here this week. Are there a lot of new players for them to pick up on?
Yeah, and always will be, and that's good because the Warriors are quite open. We say we can't keep all players. There's simply just not enough room and not enough spots. So yeah, the other recruitment managers here and player agents, they're active and they're busy, and there's a lot of talent on show. But again, all of us though are saying to the kids, this thing about working hard, being consistent, what they do not just on the ball, it's what they do off the ball, and that little bit of due diligence and just finding out a little bit about each player as the day goes on from their coaching staff and the managers of the schools.
Sure. Okay, well that's a wrap for day 3. Tomorrow, obviously semi-finals day. I'm not going to ask Duane to pick a winner at this stage of the tournament. Still a lot of football to be played, and semi-finals, anything can happen once you reach that stage. So come back, join us 24 hours time at the end of day 4. We'll know the finalists by then, Duane, hopefully.
We will.
Yep. And we'll also have the awards ceremony tomorrow afternoon, so we might be able to talk a little bit about who were the big winners there. If you want to follow the tournament, best way to do it is to download that app off the NZRL website. And Duane, it was a pleasure having you here again. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow.
Yeah, likewise, Grant, and look forward to bringing some good news, good stories, and more details about those progressing through to Friday.
Maybe we'll talk to the referees tomorrow.
Yeah, they didn't show up today, so we'll find more about that.
Well, they were here for the games, but they just weren't here for this. Thanks, Duane.
Okay, cheers, mate.
Hey, it's Chappie. Dwayne's gone, but we've got some late-breaking news on the tournament draw for tomorrow. We talked about the development grade where there was a three-way tie in Pool E, but we've had another look at the rules and shuffled the calculators a little bit more, and it now seems that Trident High School ended up on top of Pool E. Tomorrow they will play a semi-final against Onehunga High, and Sir Edmund Hillary was second in Pool E, and they will take on Tai Wainanga in their semi-final tomorrow. So hope that clears up any confusion. Cheers.